Hi, it's Katrina. From a bald eagle almost killed by poachers to dolphins with missing tails, here are 9 animals that were given a second chance thanks to prosthetics, 3D printing, and a little human compassion. Number 9. Beauty the bald eagle. This bald eagle was shot in the face by poachers in 2005. Somehow she survived, but the upper part of her beak and complete right side was destroyed and she was unable to fend for herself in the wild. She was rescued by Janie at the Birds of Prey Northwest, a conservation facility in Northern Idaho. Many experts said the bird could not be saved and should instead be euthanized, but Janie refused to accept that fate for Beauty. Janie, biologists, engineers, and veterinarians and dentists came together to create a new beak for Beauty. They made a mold of her mandible, made a 3D model, and printed it with nylon polymer material. She lives on her own in a large aviary, and the team is monitoring her beak and prosthesis closely to make sure it is functional and looks perfect. Thanks to the synthetic beak, Beauty could start drinking and eating on her own. Beauty and Her Story is now a popular book, and she and Janie appeared on National Geographic on the show Unlikely Animal Friends. Birds of Prey Northwest says that Beauty's story is an example of the cruelty and the compassion of humankind. Number 8. Mr. Stubbs the Alligator. One of the worst things that can happen to an animal is the loss of a major limb. For alligators, their tail is critical for helping them keep their balance and buoyancy in the water. Meet Mr. Stubbs. He was found in the back of a truck along with other exotic animals in 2013 that were being transported by animal traffickers illegally. It's believed another alligator bit his tail off, but no one's really sure what happened to it. Now, you may not think that the loss of a tail for an alligator is a big deal, but their tail is a key part in how they move. And Mr. Stubbs had trouble swimming and getting in and out of the water without his tail. When he was taken to the Phoenix Herpetological Society, they decided the only way for Mr. Stubbs to have a good quality of life was to fit him with a new tail. They fitted him with his first prosthetic tail made from the cast of another alligator, but every alligator's tail is unique and specific to them. Mr. Stubbs outgrew it and many other artificial tails that they made for him. Finally, 5 years later, many advances have been made in 3D scanning and printing. The researchers were able to make a perfectly sized and perfectly weighted tail for him, one that wouldn't throw off his balance or his swimming motion. The process took a while as they wanted to make sure that the tail was perfect for Mr. Stubbs. It's measured to the millimeter, and he seems to be very comfortable with it. Mr. Stubbs actually used it to smack a volunteer. Don't worry, they were okay. Number 7. Victoria the Goose. Victoria the Brazilian goose was found on the coast of Sao Paulo without most of her beak. She was taken in by Friends of the Sea, an organization that takes care of marine animals mostly. For a long time, she was dependent on humans feeding her baby food or regular food chopped up into tiny pieces. There was no real prospect of a better life, so they went to Paulo Miyamoto, a dentist who specializes in being able to make 3D replica teeth and even complete parts of the face and mouth. You might think that a dentist would be hesitant to work on a goose, but not this one. Miyamoto was part of a group called the Animal Avengers, a group of volunteers dedicated to helping all animals in their time of need. Through the process of trial and error and lots of 3D printing, they were able to fashion a beak for Victoria that would allow her to eat and survive on her own, while also being good for the environment. Miyamoto says we give many animals a second chance. Without these prosthetics, most would have been euthanized because there was nobody to care for them. It was a huge step forward in the field of 3D prosthetics. And now for number 6. But first, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and join the Origins Explained family. Number 6. Holly the horse. Hoofed animals like horses can suffer from a debilitating and painful disease called laminitis, which affects the attachment between the hoof and bone. A horse in Australia named Holly had been suffering from the disease for 3 years and was almost unable to walk. Concerned for Holly's well-being, her veterinarian actually contacted a man named John Barnes, who was a director at a place called CSIRO, Australia's National Science Agency. They are a company that had made 3D printed titanium horseshoes for a racehorse. Barnes said, "I had no idea if it would work. I had only ridden a horse once." They hadn't made anything to rehabilitate lame horses, so this would be their first shot. Thankfully for Holly, the shoe did work, and this custom shoe can be made on demand in less than a day. Because of her success, there are those who are hoping to use this process to eliminate the pain and suffering caused by laminitis. The horseshoes themselves are custom made to each horse, which means that they can be made to ensure that the parts that cause pain don't have pressure put on them as they walk. They are the first of its kind prosthetic, helping lame horses to heal. Another horse named Molly from Louisiana is also famous for her prosthetic leg. She was abandoned by her owners when Hurricane Katrina hit, and when she was rescued, she was severely attacked by a pit bull. Her leg got infected and the surgeon decided to amputate rather than euthanize her because of her sweet personality, and the new owner was ready to take care of her. A prosthesis designer made her a leg, and now Molly has become an inspiration to people going through difficult times. Her owner takes her to hospitals, nursing homes, and shelters to give people hope. Number 5. Cyrano the Cat. Cyrano the Cat II was a normal cat besides his elaborate name. Unfortunately, he developed bone cancer in his left leg. Although he survived the experience, it did come at a cost. Cyrano was unable to stand on his left leg even though his human companions did everything they could to help him. He was the first cat to receive radiation therapy, but his leg was damaged beyond repair. Usually in this case, an animal would have to get the leg amputated, but the vet didn't recommend it as it would negatively affect the cat's livelihood. So Cyrano's owner, Sandy Lerner, searched for new options, and that led her to veterinary experts at NC State. Her kitty needed a total knee arthroplasty, although it had never been done before for a cat. This kitty is creating new records all over the place. A team of engineers, veterinary surgeons, and designers got together to see what kind of material to use for the custom-made limb, and knee implants are not easy, especially when they have to be tiny. The operation went smoothly and the surgery worked. He was able to get full range of motion and is now up and running on all 4 legs thanks to 3D printed bone replicas and a whole team of people. Number 4. Fred the Tortoise. Remember Victoria the Goose? Well, Animal Avengers is at it again. Tortoises may seem indestructible because of their shell, but their inherent slowness makes them very vulnerable in certain situations, like a wild brush fire. This is exactly what happened to Freddy, and it is a miracle that he's still alive. He was found in bad shape with his shell incredibly damaged. Though Fred survived the encounter, the lack of protection from his shell led to pneumonia and almost starvation. Good thing he was found by Animal Avengers, who named him after a curious figure in pop culture. The vet said it looked like Freddy Krueger. Not so flattering, but you know. Terrible naming aside, the Animal Avengers knew that they had to help Fred, but that was no easy task. It took about 40 photos to build a model and reconstruct the shell, since 85% of it was missing. They reconstructed a healthy tortoise in 3D and put it into the computer. The shell itself was printed out in pieces and then carefully attached onto Fred so that he wouldn't feel anything. Finally, they painted the shell to match the environment and Fred's tortoise species. You don't want him to stick out. The result is a true first of its kind. It is the first 3D turtle shell that has ever been made. Each piece took 50 hours of printing. Luckily, it works. Animal Avengers have also used technology to help other animals besides turtles and geese, including toucans and parrots. Number 3. Derby the dog. Sometimes animals are born with deformities and are often euthanized because of them. Derby was born without fully formed front legs, which made walking very difficult and running impossible. He was taken in and fostered by Tara Anderson, an employee at 3D Systems. Thanks to this technology, she was able to make custom prosthetics, which are more practical than the traditional ones. She got a cart with wheels, but Derby couldn't really run with it. She got together a team at 3D Systems, and because of the deformities, the team had to work hard to develop a type of prosthetic that would allow the dog to walk naturally and with proper form. The good thing about 3D printing is that the images are on file and can just be modified as the patient grows. Before, each one had to be hand sculpted and rebuilt 5 or 10 times. Now, his new adoptive parents take him running for miles and miles every day, and Derby is now a symbol of hope for other animals and even people who may need to use prosthetics. Number 2. Hope the giraffe. A giraffe was born at the Topeka Zoo in 2010 with deformed rear legs. Zookeepers didn't think she had much of a chance, but a month later, they named her Hope. Another giraffe born in 2007 was born with a similar condition and was euthanized at 7 months old. However, under new management, the zoo vet performed a groundbreaking procedure. He placed red fiberglass casts on the calf's rear legs to keep them still. Her condition would just get worse as she got older, so everyone's fingers were crossed. The vet replaced the casts with a soft casting material and then attached it to fabricated shoes made of plywood and heels. It helped her rear tendons to build tension so that she could walk normally. These new hoof/shoes helped her tendons and muscles to grow more naturally. Over time, the vets were finally able to remove the prosthetic hooves, and Hope now frolics around her enclosure happily. Number 1. Winter the Dolphin. If you've ever heard of the movie Dolphin Tale, then you might know that this was based on a true story. The dolphin known around the world as Winter was found entangled in a crab trap line in 2005. Just 3 months old, the dolphin was rescued, but her tail was severely damaged, and eventually she lost it. She was named Winter at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium, and she had a lot of trouble swimming. An expert in prosthetics at Hanger Clinic was inspired by her story and offered to help the dolphin with a new tail. A team got together to try to figure out how to keep a prosthetic tail on a dolphin, and also how to make it strong enough to propel a 400-pound dolphin into the air. This led to the creation of a whole new material, Winter's Gel Prosthetic Liners, which is also helping human patients. The gel sleeves help cling to Winter's tail without irritating her skin. Winter's story is an inspiration, and her story of determination and perseverance is famous all over the world. Thanks for watching! Which story was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!